Hello and welcome. In this lesson, we are going to learn to write your first network program. So let's use the same project we did earlier. Open your Visual Studio 2019 and then just click on the previous project, which should be in this list here. If you don't see here, you can also open by using this button here. Open a project or solution. Click on this and then you can navigate to the folder where your project was stored, which is in the C drive in the red folder, red projects folder, hello, and then click on hello.sln. SLN stands for solution, so just click on that and open, and it will load the project which you did earlier. So we are now going to write some code to make this into a network server. That means this program will listen for a connection, and then once it has connected to a client, we are going to use the telnet client which you installed earlier, and the telnet client will then send a message to this server, and the server will then receive that message and do something. It will receive the message and show a message box with some hello world string. To do that, we must first create a listener. So go to this function here, or this method here, and then below the hide here, open a new line and then type TCP listener. TCP listener. And you will see that there is a red underline here, which means to say it doesn't know where this object comes from, where this class comes from. So it asks you to click here, show potential fixes. So you can click on this and see the help that it will provide for you. So these are some locations where TCP listener can be found. So the one we need is this one, using system net sockets. So click on this and then it will import it over here automatically for you, system.net sockets. So over here now you can put a comment to remind yourself that it is for listeners and sockets. So now that it has inserted this library for you, you can now make use of TCP listener. Now we can create an object out of the class. So to create the object, we type in the name, just any name you like. We shall call it TCP listener. TCP listener. And then we have to call the constructor by using the new keyword. And then type TCP listener here again, the constructor. And here is where we need to specify the parameters for our constructor. So as I mentioned before, a constructor is the first method that is called by a class. So every class will have a constructor. In this case here, the form1 constructor is called form1. And then for TCP listener, the constructor for TCP listener is called TCP listener. However, you need to use this special word called new in order to use the constructor. So we want to construct an object out of this class and then return it to the variable we declared here. So this is the meaning of all this here. So what are the parameters that you can pass to the constructor? There are three. You can either pass just a number, or the second one, you can click on this button. You can pass the endpoint, or the third one, you can pass the IP address as well as the port number. So we are going to use the third one. So this is the one we want. So we just follow the syntax here. We type system.net, and as you type, you can see the IntelliSense popping up to show you some helpful hints. And then here you supply IP address. Press tab to auto-complete it, and then here what IP address you want to use, you can put dot here, and then here it pops up some of the possible matches. Then you select the first one, any. That means any IP address you want to use. You want to use all the IP address that are available on this machine. Then the second parameter is a port number. As you press the comma, it will open up the parameter list for you again. So the port number, you can choose any port number, but I will advise you to use those which are above 1024, because anything less than 1024 is reserved for special use for the well-known ports which I've explained earlier. So we can use, say, 4444, which should be quite available because no services are making use of port 4444. But you can always confirm it by opening the command prompt and typing netstat-tan to confirm it. So you can type this now. If you want to confirm that port 4444 is available, type cmd and then click on the command prompt here and then type netstat space -tan, hit enter, and then now you can scroll and make sure that port 444 is not being used. You can see port 135, 443, 445 and so on are already being used, and you can keep scrolling down to see all the ports that are being used over here, and you can confirm that none of the ports are 4444, so it's quite safe to use 4444. So we can come back here now and just confirm our 4444, and then to end the statement, we put a semicolon at the back. So this is your first line in your networking program. You are going to create a TCP listener. So you use a TCP listener class, declare an object out of the class, and give a name for the object. So we call it TCP listener with a lowercase t, and then here we call the constructor for the class in order to create the object and to give it the parameters that we want the object to have. So here we supply the first parameter as any IP address. That means bind to any IP address which is available on this machine. So if this machine has got 2 or more network adapters, then it will bind to all the network adapters. And then here, second parameter will be your port that you want to use for this network program. So if you run this program, it will open a port 4444 and listen for connections, but you have to start it. So the next line we are going to start it, so we call TCP listener, and then you can press tab for completion and then hit and then press dot and see what are the possible methods that exist for this object. And you can see here a list of possible objects, a list of possible methods. Methods are functions. In C#, we say methods, but they are actually functions. They mean the same thing. So what are the methods available? So the one that we are interested here is start. This is the one, start. So we can just double click that, start, and then put the function brackets and close it with a semicolon. So now the listener will start. Alright, so but that is not sufficient. It has to create a socket. A socket is the port. So in order to create a socket, you must use the socket class. Socket class with a capital S, and then give a name for your object, for this socket object. So we can call it socket for client. Always give something meaningful so that it makes it easier to read and understand your code. And then here we are going to use the TCP listener to open the socket. So the TCP listener is already listening. So once the TCP listener is listening, you can call the TCP listener's object called accept socket. So just type a dot here and you will see a drop down list of all the possible methods for TCP listener, and the one that we need is the first one, accept socket. So we can just click on that and then finish it up with our function brackets and semicolon at the back. And so now we have a socket. That means we have the IP address bound to this machine, and we have a socket listening port 4444. So the next thing we want to do is to create a pipe. A pipe is called a network stream. So the pipe will be the pipe through which all the data will flow through the socket. So to create a pipe, we use the network stream class. Network stream. As you type, you can see that the IntelliSense has popped up a suggestion for you. Very helpful. So all you need to do is just press a tab and it will auto-complete the name for you. So now we want to create a network stream object. We just give a nice name which is easy to understand. So we just type network stream as a name with a lowercase n. And then here again we call the constructor for network stream. So we have to use the new keyword in the same way that we did for TCP listener when we wanted to call the constructor for TCP listener. So here we are going to call the constructor for network stream. So just type network stream there, and then you need to pass a parameter for it. So when you open the brackets, it pops up 4 possible parameter lists. So when you put your brackets here, it will pop up the parameter list. There are 4 possible parameter lists. The first one accepts just one socket. Second one accepts socket and other options. And then third one accepts these parameters. And then there's a fourth one as well. The one that we want is the first one. So just hit the up arrow and the first one is what we want. So all we need to do is provide a socket for it. So the socket that we created is socket for client. So we just have to type it in here. Socket for client. That's it. And then we end it with the semicolon. So now we have created a network stream that will be used as a pipe for the port for the data to flow through. So now that we have the network stream ready, we need to have something that can read this data. So for reading the data that is coming through the stream, we need a stream reader. So we type stream reader. However, you will find that stream reader is not known because we have not imported the library for stream reader. So what is a library for stream reader? Just hover your mouse over here, and here it says show potential fixes. So just click on this, and then here it helpfully suggests using system IO. So just click on the first one, and then it will import your system IO. System.io is the input-output libraries, which contains stream reader as one of its classes. So now stream reader has been resolved. We can create an object out of this class by giving a useful and easy to understand name. We just call it stream reader. And then we have to call the constructor for stream reader. Note that this symbol here is not equals but assignment. That means whatever is on the right is assigned to whatever is on the left. In programming, if you wanted to use a mathematical equality operator, you have to put 2 equal sign like this. If you put 1 equal sign, it does not mean you are comparing. It means that you are assigning whatever is on the right to whatever is on the left. It is equivalent to this. This is what you are doing. Whatever is on the right is assigned to whatever is on the left. So don't make the mistake of thinking that this is equality. This is assignment. So you create you call the constructor for stream reader, and then you call the constructor using the new keyword, and then the name of the stream reader constructor, and inside it you put your parameter. So these are the possible parameters. We have 11 possible parameters, but the one that we need is the first one. Is the network stream. So we just have to type in the network stream that we created up here inside the parameter. That's it, and end it with the semicolon. So now you have a stream reader that can read your stream, which is created for the socket. So the next thing you want to do is to read the first line. So to read the first line, we need to create a object called string, and string is able to store whatever data that is being sent, characters that are sent over the network. So we are going to assign to this new string whatever comes from the stream reader. So we can use the stream reader to read a line. So we put stream reader object, then we put a dot here, and then here we show you what are the possible methods that exist for stream reader. So the one that we want is stream reader.read line. So you can scroll down, you can see there's one here. Alright, so read line reads a line of characters from the current stream. So just double click on this and then put the function brackets and end it with a semicolon. So read line means to read until the person enters the new line character. The new line character is the enter key of the keyboard. When somebody types a sentence and he wants to finish the sentence in programming, when you want to finish a sentence, you will press the enter key. So when you press enter key, that is considered one line. So that is how stream reader read line knows that there is a line there, because it is looking for the new line character. So the new line character in programming is denoted by carriage return and line feed, like this, right? So the \R\n means pressing the enter key in Windows machine. Alright, so why you put backslash? Backslash is to tell the operating system that this is a special character called carriage return and line feed. \R means return. In the olden days, we use the old typewriter where you need to push the platen, which they call it the platen, the thing that rotates on top. You need to push it to the left. So that's the meaning of carriage return. And then we are still retaining the convention by using the character R here, right? So this is a little bit of extra tidbits for your information. So this is the meaning of read line, new line character. So when it finds the character \R\n, then stream reader knows that it has found a line. So it will read the line and save it to the string which you declared here. So now this string here, line, has got the characters that was sent by the client. So the next thing you want to do is to look for the character that is going to be sent. So we are going to continue with the coding in the next lesson. See you then.